You okay? Good afternoon. We're going to call the meeting to order of the CRA. It is 4:00 p.m. Could you call the roll, please?
Chair Burns.
Here.
Vice Chair Marker.
Here.
Deputy Vice Chair Casal. Here. Commissioner Carney.
Here.
And Commissioner Long.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Approval of the agenda. I think there's some agenda changes. Executive, are we changing now? Okay.
Well, it's on the consent agenda.
Okay.
So we can do it after.
Okay. So I'd like to get.
So we are going to have the option to pull things from the consent agenda later, is what you're telling me.
When we approve the consent, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just confirming.
We usually do that right up front.
Oh, we can do it now. I
Let's
can
do it now.
Okay.
Let's just get it over with.
All right. Hi. Okay, so two things we wanted to look at. So wanted to move item 7D. That is the agreement with Jones Lang LaSalle America, the continuing contract for our commercial property real estate agent. Okay. There were a couple changes that they requested after the agenda went out, so we just wanted to approve it in substantial form. They're not major changes, but we didn't want to wait because it's not a big thing. So that's the first one. So we would want to move that to new business, so 9AA. Mm-hmm. And then spoke with DJ Duty today. He wasn't able to attend the meeting this afternoon, but we discussed in particular items 7H and 7L. So on his advice, we are recommending to move these two items to July. After our last meeting, there was discussion about maybe an additional property to review as part of this, larger land assessment. So he was recommending if we would do that, we would just do it all together instead of just doing it separate, if that's something that the board would still like to pursue.
I would like to talk about the items because I think that I'm not sure we should be doing them at all. So, I mean, if you want to extend them, that's fine. But I mean, my view here is I think we need to have a real discussion as to whether or not this is the best use of the CRA money at the time to explore buying other properties when we got properties we haven't developed yet, so that we already own, essentially.
Okay.
So, I don't know how to. I mean, I'm not the chair, so I don't know.
I'm open to discussing this item. I'd like to have a discussion about it too.
Go ahead.
So should we then discuss the two in July, or do you want to have a discussion today? Because DJ wanted to be here when we had the conversation since he's been involved and informed about what's going on.
There's a few things I would like to talk about regarding this, regardless of whether we move forward.
Well, we're talking now. Go just.
Okay, I didn't know if we were actually.
she's
on.
open the floor to have the
I raised the
discussion
issue, so
Well, I think Renee, DJ wants to be here when we discuss.
These
you
two
can make your
items,
comment.
Yeah, I just want to make a couple comments. Is
Right.
all.
do we want to make them in comments, or do we going to make
No,
them?
let's make them now. Just get it over
I'm
with.
fine doing it now. Whatever the board
do it
wants.
now. It's the discussion.
So, well, for one, we talked about the two properties, the one on Artist Alley and one on North Federal at the last meeting. And then two other properties came up since then. There's the one that the Rosens own, and then there's another one apparently on the other side of North Federal, which I frankly am on board with analyzing all four of them. And I understand the wisdom behind sort of doing all four together, but I also think that there could continue to be property owners that are interested as we go through this process. And I don't want to freeze up any analysis we're planning on doing every time someone else shows interest. So I frankly think we should move forward and analyze these first two. And then in July, I would be open to getting a quote to analyze the other two as well. That's kind of where I'm at on it, if I'm being honest. And the other thing is regarding the North Federal property, I did speak with the property owner there, Mr. Ladowney, and he wanted to make it clear that he is not pitching the idea of doing low income on that site. And I agree with him on that front. He thinks that workforce housing on that site is much more viable, and I know we don't have to decide that right now. That's something that would be decided only if we even decided to move forward on any of these properties, what the makeup is going to be. But I know there was a lot of political blowback about potentially low income housing going on North Federal, which I don't think it makes sense there. I think folks that are at that income level often don't even have cars, and so putting them on the highways probably not a good idea. But regardless, I think what he said makes sense. I think that workforce housing, if we were going to move forward with that property, would be what we should be looking at there. I would just be remiss not to bring that up because of all the sort of things that have come out since. But that's really about all I have to say about it. My pitch is that we still move forward on these two and then the other two later. But if the board would rather wait and do all four at the same time, I can live with that.
Right, I wasn't aware of a fourth one, but I would like to move forward as well. And then the property on, I mean, we have to do what makes sense. And if the property owner of the one on Federal Highway is saying that he doesn't want what we want on the property, then why should we
You
go
said
through
you
that
didn't
one?
want affordable on that property, low income.
Excuse me?
He's saying low income.
He said
You
low,
said
low.
you didn't want low on that property. You didn't want it in the gateway of the city
Well,
last meeting.
Right, well, we want affordable housing, and so if the
The selection was merely to
homeowner
look
is
at.
not, the property owner is not willing to do that, so it's still up for discussion. I would like to move forward. I think that, you know, whatever opportunity, partnership that we can do to get some affordable housing, in this last ditch effort of trying to ride out the CRA for as long as it exists, we need to do it. Commissioner
Yeah.
Market, did you have any comments?
Just a
you
quick
wanted to make?
comment, I brought it up in the previous meeting. I'm not sure we have the funding to do this. I just don't believe, after looking at the books, that we're
The funding to do,
to buy these buildings.
no,
and
we
these-
don't.
and
We
these
don't have the money
properties.
to do it.
So I kind of think the discussion's a little bit on the moot side. I mean, we can't live in dreamland up here. We don't have the funds to do this.
Well, we have to look at options. There are options other than us having the money. And so all of this research will give us some additional options. Because the conversation I had brought monies forward to us, and so not for us to get it. So there are options.
Okay. I just don't want,
We just have to look at the whole thing and not piecemeal it. We just need to get get it analyzed, if we're gonna get it analyzed, so that everything is presented for us, so that we can make some intelligent decisions based on the information that we have. So,
I'll be open-minded if there's some other sources that,
Right.
that we could afford to buy these without bankrupting
Right.
our entity.
Right.
Right.
I'm not seeing them right now, and I don't know that we should be spending a lot of time in fairyland here if we can't literally
I think we're
come
far
up with the
from
money.
fairyland.
It doesn't feel that way to me.
Okay.
So,
Could I go next because everybody's spoken
Yeah, go
for
ahead.
me?
Oh, I
haven't
heard you
spoken.
speak.
No,
Okay, go
you
ahead.
I haven't spoken.
said, you said.
Excuse me.
I got a whole, I got a whole.
Thank you.
thing ready to
Okay,
go.
I'll let you go after me. You need to, because, I mean, you were the one at at the March 25th meeting, I said, we don't have the money, we shouldn't be doing this, we should be focusing on the properties we have on West Atlantic. I'm getting whiplash up here with the changing of positions on a week-to-week basis. Mayor, you said, let's get it in the Pipolino, the pipeline, let's get it going. I don't care if we have to borrow, I don't care if
With
we need a
respect, I'm not going to
bond.
let you make a comment that I
Well,
didn't make. I
that's-
said
that
if
is,
the
people
state,
can
if the
watch
state of
meeting.
Florida was going to
Okay.
legislatively put the CRA out of business, we had to take defensive mechanisms to
Okay.
buy property in order
Yeah,
to protect
get
the
it in the
existence of CRA.
pipeline and buy
Let's
it.
not
Okay,
put
let
words in
me,
my
no,
mouth
I'm
that
not
I did
putting
not
words in the
mean.
Thank
There
you.
are meetings. I'm not done, if I may. The meetings are recorded. I never thought the CRA should be purchasing property. We don't have the money, and we have a lot of property on West Atlantic Avenue that we can develop, and we have plans to develop. Oddly, somehow after our last meeting, residents received a series of texts full of false information. Texts coming from a group called Neighbors for a Better Delray, which is very similar to PAC texts that come out during election time. And I find it interesting, but it's clear from the recorded meeting on March 25th that 3 of my colleagues were eager to push through with a $21 million purchase of property in Pineapple Grove. And that was not me. I was not. And I thought the proposal was absurd. The property sat on the market for years, unsold, and was being offered to local residents for $15 million, not the $21 million that this board was considering paying for it at that day. Yes, my colleagues were talking about paying $21 million for a parcel. So I came to the following meeting on April 30th, and those were the words in the meeting. If we have to bond, if we have to borrow, let's just get it done. There was an urgency to it, and I understand what you're saying, but I wasn't saying it, and that's my concern. So at the following meeting on the 30th, I brought up the idea, because I thought this was so absurd, of a comparable property, and I did a comparison on Federal Highway, a property that was $5 million less expensive, a property that was larger, a property that didn't have parking problems, that didn't have traffic problems. I did my job. I did research, and I came to the meeting prepared, and we didn't sign the $21 million contract, as some expected might happen that night. So apparently, stopping a $21 million purchase upset some people so much that they've sent out text after text after text with misinformation. But anyone who watches the commission meetings knows I watched out for the taxpayers' dollars. I am a watchdog, not a lapdog.
Is this a
and I
campaign
didn't want to.
speech? Okay, are we-
Yeah,
Excuse me.
I'm done.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, let me just, because I
Let me
was
just say
at.
one thing, I'm gonna allow you to speak, that we were not at the point of making any purchase.
Mr.
Correct.
Long
We were
wanted us
at
to
the
purchase that
point
night
of
with contracts.
exploring purchasing.
Well, it didn't
Mayor,
sound
go
that
ahead
way.
and
All right.
speak.
But
Again,
wait,
I
if I
am
may,
not going to let
I
you.
didn't say
I am
my
not going to
vote.
let you fabricate what I said.
People can watch the
All right?
meeting. You
I
said
know
it.
what I said.
Polino,
I know I
Polino.
said, and
Commissioner Cassell, you've already had your.
to the chagrin of a lot of other of my friends, I said I don't think we should be buying anything unless we know what we can put on it.
Right.
So I never recommended anything, any purchase, anytime, anywhere, unless I know what I can put on it. But talking about your presentation, interestingly, and I've got my own remarks I'm going to make. You talked about, well, if you buy this thing along the railroad track, we might have to do an environmental study.
Right.
That's environmental. We do that on every property we
I
buy.
know we do.
Every property
You
we
might
buy.
have to do a
You then
stage
said,
two,
well, more interestingly,
not
for
one.
someone who's been sitting up here for so long, that this property is already converted to residential, and therefore we
it
can
was
do
given
it.
the approval.
Excuse me, there's a conditional approval. If you don't understand this, you better
I
go back and ask
understand
somebody.
very well
A
what's going
conditional
on
approval
here.
means if you
Excuse me,
don't do the.
there's not a
Excuse
debate,
me.
you're just making comments.
If you don't do
not
the
a debate.
project that's conditionally approved, you go back, you're still commercial. Even that
Yeah,
project's still
that's
commercial.
right.
And you'd have to get new approvals, which, by the way, would include showing that you meeting the conditional approval for a residential project, which includes whether or not it's compatible with the neighborhood. So I don't even want to go down that road.
Not
I
if
got
it's
my
live
comments
local.
that I want to make. When I first started to look at and the first arguments when we first started to look at this was to protect, because we feared that legislation was coming out of Tallahassee, which might seriously impact the operation of the CRA. Our thought was to buy a piece of property with debt, because with that debt, we could extend the operation of the for the period of the debt. But that priority changed for two reasons. First, the CRA legislation never passed. Second, we will be issuing debt. It's actually we're going to be doing $30 million first, and it's going to be up to $80 million in the next 5 years, by the way, everybody, because we can only issue debt for the next 3 years worth of revenues. So we're going to have $80 million worth of debt that we're going to be issuing just for the northwest neighborhoods. We haven't even gotten to the southwest neighborhoods yet.
Right.
That's going to be another 80. So we're looking here, and we only have 28 years left. What do we? 20, right?
19.
Yeah, 19 years left. 19 years left to figure out how we're going to pay off essentially $160 million in debt. Okay? So the need to have debt kind of went away when we discovered that we were going to have to do all this infrastructure debt. And it's the wrong location. We're supposed to be in the redevelopment business. We're supposed to support projects that will stimulate investments around us. Obviously, to have the North Federal property become something less than the upscale property which we approved just a few months ago, and instead do something different, will not stimulate investment, and frankly is contrary to our mission. I mean, is anyone really suggesting that the vision of this board is to support projects which will negatively impact the current tax base, but also the future investment on the corridor? Is that what we want our entrance to the city to be? And your remarks are very clear. I don't want workforce housing. I want extremely low-income housing.
I said the
you
city
can
needs
backtrack
it
all you
if
want.
you're all
You're on
going
the
to do
record, as you
this.
said.
I
Read the
am
tape.
on the record.
Make it on the
I
tape.
stand by my
Oh,
statements.
well,
I'm not
good.
changing them
Please
like
do.
you
Thank
are.
you for everybody. We all thank you for that. And notwithstanding the comment made at last meeting that the property converted to residential, it's not true. As I've just said, it's still commercial. And if the current project is not built, this project is still commercial, so any new project is going to have to get approved. And I'm going to say that a higher density upscale project faces a real uphill battle, while the property, meanwhile, is off the tax rolls and is also facing neighborhood resistance, because it was only approved because we all sat here, we all voted on it. It was high end. It's going to add $70 million to the tax base, all this other kind of
I know
stuff.
that was in
So what is our mission? We're going to need every cent we have to get West Atlantic Avenue done. We will need to incentivize people to get that land developed. This land we already have. And let me underscore one thing that it seems to be lost here. We have over 20 years worth of money invested in West Atlantic with little to show for it. I was there. I went back through my records. There's stuff that we have, and I confirmed it with Renee today. Some of the stuff that I voted on in 2003 is still laying vacant. We're not doing our job as it relates to West Atlantic. We are not doing our job. We are a redevelopment agency. We're supposed to be redeveloping the city, and we're supposed to redevelop it so that it stimulates other investment to come in. So I just want to get West Atlantic done. And I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of chasing a potential housing project, borrowing even more money, which, by the way, we no longer have to do, when we already have something on our plate. I want to get done what we've been trying to get done for 20 years. That is a redevelopment of West Atlantic. Let's make that a vibrant corridor. That actually is our mission. So I propose that we don't consider any of the properties at this time. We don't have the money. I don't want to borrow the money. If we borrow the money, we got to go to the county to get it. There's so much we have to do. We don't have the money, particularly with the money we have to put out for the northwest neighborhoods and certainly coming the southwest neighborhoods with respect to infrastructure. So my goal here is let's do West Atlantic. Let's not worry about buying any more property. We don't have the money.
Can I add a couple quick comments, Chair, whenever
Well,
you
that's
have?
a chair.
Are you?
I'm done. I'm finished,
Okay,
Jeff.
go ahead.
So the condition that apparently changed your mind, Mayor, was the whole issue in Tallahassee, correct? So that's not a dead issue. As Matt Forrest explained to us, the way these sessions work is they kind of run in couples, right? It's based on the chair's term. And we're starting part 2 of really our current session in January. Not a year from now, in January. So we have the rest of the year, and then this legislation will likely come back. It always does in these 2-year cycles. So, and it's much more likely to pass the second time. It got a ton of traction this time. Some version of this will probably come back and could very likely pass next session. Now it's in the speaker's second year. So we still have the same issue. We just have bought some more time, right? And I also think it's worth looking at the wider context of affordable housing in Florida, in Palm Beach County, in Delray Beach, and how big of an issue that is. It's like there's a reason the county passed a whole referendum that the citizens voted for regarding affordable housing. By the way, which they give money to cities for. To Chair Burns' point, there is other money in the mix here, which is why we need to bear this out through some sort of analysis before we just say, let's bail. Because last time you did have commentary to the effect of we can walk and chew gum at the same time in terms of developing West Atlantic. They're two separate things. So all I propose is that we analyze the property that Commissioner Casal brought up last time, along with the Artist Alley property, and then next time we look at the other two, the Rosen's property and the other one that's on North Atlantic. Let's just look at them, see what the analysis bears out, see if there's any other chance to have other funds from the county or elsewhere in the mix, and see if it makes sense, while we still have the rest of the year to do that analysis and have time to make a decision, because we might not have this ability come a year from now. That's all I'm saying. Maybe we end up deciding that there's no way to make this work. Fine,
Chair.
we walk away.
Chair, if I may.
Yes.
I didn't specify. When we had our first meeting on this subject, I said we shouldn't be doing it. I did not feel we should in the second meeting. I was using a comparable to show the absurdity of it. I stand with that today. I do not think we have the money. I do not think we should be making purchases.
Okay.
So we've got 3 to
We've got
say,
2. We
bank
have
it.
2.
Well, Mr. Margaret
And-
said no.
Well, can Mr.
I just want
Market
to move
speak
forward
for
with an
himself?
analysis, not a purchase.
I would
But
like
just-
to hear
but-
Mr. Market speak for
Can I just make
himself,
one
please.
quick, no,
I got no.
I was going to say
yes.
something else.
Mr. Market, because I'm a yes as well. Mr. Market.
I'd be a no.
Okay, so we have a no. So.
Shame on us for
ba-
not moving
based-
forward to even consider an
based
affordable
on
housing
this-
project for this county. Shame on us, truly.
Mr. Executive Director.
not even
are you-
analyze
Are
it.
you clear on your
But
direction
Rob, we
now?
can analyze it, but.
We
before-
voted, it's time to move.
But before that step moves forward, I think
that-
we need.
Excuse me.
You just voted no to even analyze it, so now we can't now.
Miss Executive Chair, are you clear on
You voted
the
no, so
direction
we're not analyzing
based
it.
on
It
this
didn't.
3-2? Are you clear?
Yes,
Okay,
I'm
let's
clear.
move. Thank you. We would like,
So what have we decided with the agenda item?
would you,
We are just removing them from the agenda. They're
For
off the
eternity.
agenda.
thank you.
Yes,
So,
we're not bringing it.
can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Vice Chair
As
Margaret.
amended.
As
As amended,
I second.
As amended.
Vice Chair Margaret.
yes.
Deputy Vice Chair Casal.
Yes.
Commissioner Carney.
Yes.
Commissioner Long.
Yes.
And Chair Burns.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Public comment. Do we have anyone for public comment?
You guys are really hard acts to follow. And it appears that, well, if I'd have known you were going to stand up, I'd have let you break the ice. It's okay. Marjorie Waldo at Arts Garage. Okay. In today's Sun Sentinel, Cindy Kreischer Goodman's article, Florida in Mental Health Crisis, Catastrophe, sorry.
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
Would you please start again?
I would
Because
love it.
I was otherwise
Mayor was
distracted.
talking to me. Sorry.
Yeah, but it's
You
always
ready?
my,
It's okay.
always my fault.
Thank you
Here,
for letting
at
me
home,
start over.
Anywhere I go, it's always my fault.
Thank you.
Stop interrupting. Thank you so much. Sorry.
No problem. Okay, in today's Sun Sentinel, Cindy Kreischer Goodman's article, Florida in Mental Health Catastrophe, quoted Patrick J. Kennedy, a former congressman and mental health advocate. We wait until we have a stage 4 illness to treat disease in this country. And he implored South Florida providers and advocates at the South Florida Behavioral Health Conference to devise strategies to keep Florida's youth from entering crisis. In Florida, Goodman says the majority of serious mental illnesses emerge between the ages of 14 and 24. Goodman states that the crisis isn't just affecting young people and adults, is not just affecting young people and adults, but also isolated seniors who suffer from depression. In May 2023 New York Times article, Christina Karen wrote, How the Arts Can Benefit Your Mental Health. Jill Sonke, the research director of the University of Florida Center for Arts in Medicine, had no idea that existed, said that significant evidence suggests that creating art and activities like attending a concert or visiting a museum can benefit mental health. Drawing gives people agency in their healing with or without a therapist. Coloring is a great form of meditation for people who hate to meditate. A 2022 study showed that during COVID, everyone of all ages reported that artistic activities made them feel better. Singing reduces levels of cortisol, a hormone that the body releases when under stress. Rhythm, repetitive lyrics, and chords engage multiple regions of the brain, reducing anxiety. Arts Garage believes that arts matter and that providing true access to everyone in our community is crucial, especially for mental health. Our volunteer program engages seniors in 10,000 hours of service annually, providing access to art, music, theater, and comedy for free. Our family series, thanks to the Kimmel Family Fund, provided 600 Spadian Village Elementary kids 2 free children's theater performances. Our partner program offers free tickets to nonprofit and community service organizations. Our senior series takes the performances to seniors who can't leave home or their facility due to health, mobility, or safety concerns. Our free galleries offer visitors a quiet and beautiful space to enjoy our region's talents. Our open mics offer free admission for performers. Our summer camps are funded by generous donors so that every child who wants to participate can, regardless of their family's income. Arts Garage will continue to provide access for all in our inclusive, diverse, and safe space that celebrates the healing properties of the arts. I almost did it this time. Thank you very much.
Thank
Because we
you.
distracted you. I understand that.
Good afternoon. I'm trying to think of the right word to say here. I'm drawing a blank, a brain fart here. Excuse my expression.
was on the
Chair,
record.
vice chair, that's what I couldn't spit out for some reason. I'm seeing Angela, but I wasn't seeing the chair below it. Chair, vice mayor, and rest of the CRA board members. I want to roll you back to maybe 2 Novembers ago. Palm Beach County residents passed a bond for $200 million for workforce and affordable housing. That was the residents of Palm Beach County that voted for this. Not just commissioners or whatever else, but the residents as a whole. Very recently, one town to the north just gave out $35 million in TIF money for a residential project to get going there. In Boynton, that community immediately to the north, they have roughly about 2,500 units that they're going through the approval and development of right now. And we could put our head in the sand and say, hey, guess what? Everybody that works in Delray has to live in Boca. Boca used to say that years ago about Delray. we don't care about workforce housing. We don't care about affordable housing and so forth. But it is a real issue that's out there. Today, if you talk to the Palm Beach County Leadership Housing Board, they will tell you there's a need for over 100,000 people here in Palm Beach County as a whole. We are the 4th largest city, being Delray Beach. I don't care whether you buy Joe White's property. By the way, I had nothing to do, nor did anybody in my company have anything to do, or anybody tied with the property to go out and push the stuff around. I don't have the time, nor the need, nor the effort, nor the want to get involved in that type of stuff. And so I would be happy to put on any kind of lie detector test or anything else, or anybody I'm involved in to prove this, because I didn't. That's a fact. I didn't.
Tom got one in his car. In case they
Great.
find it.
Let's go get it right now, because I would love to. I take it. Anyway, I think it is very
They're not so
important,
much
though.
fun, just so you know.
Oh. I've never had one, but I'd be happy to take
I don't
it.
want to hear about your experience with it. That'll be later.
Anyhow, I just want to put out there that is a very real issue. It's not a fake issue. It's not a pent-up thing or anything else. And the fact that the residents of Palm Beach County, majority of them, voted for this $200 million bond issue, which there are funds from other places, whether it's the federal government, the state government, the county, so forth. I don't think you should put your head in the sand. I'm not saying you should buy any properties. I'm just saying don't put your head in the sand and say, oh, we just don't need it, because other communities
just
have
did.
done that over the years.
We just did put our head in the sand.
I understand, but it's just, it's unfortunate for the people that don't have the means to buy a home and live here in Palm Beach County and Delray Beach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. It's extremely unfortunate and embarrassing that we're not willing to consider it.
Good afternoon to all. I'm Carter Van Voris, 770 High Point Boulevard North, Delray Beach resident. I'm sorry. I have a couple of comments that I would like to make. I went to the meeting last night, the CRA workshop. Renee, I'm sorry it fell apart, but this was an excellent start. And if we had just stuck to the book, it would have been, I think, would have gone a lot easier. The only thing that I would have liked to see changed is maybe have some of the changes to each of those sections also printed on the page, so we could see right away what those changes were. So that's the first thing I wanted to. And the other thing is I have a problem with the word implementation. Implementation, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is the process of putting a decision or a plan into effect and execution. And what it seemed, there was a lot of frustration in the room because we have ideas, but we really don't have a plan for execution. So that was one comment. My second comment is regarding now item number 9AA, the contract with JLL. If you guys have not read the scope or the proposal for services, I have a copy here for each of you if you'd like it. The scope of services goes way beyond professional commercial real estate marketing services. It far extends. This is not just marketing. This is them writing the RFPs, and this is writing the RFQs, and this is vetting the developers in advance. And it's basically taking what our CRA is supposed to be doing for us and taking that in a large private organization. And to think that there's not going to be some kind of conflict of interest when there are a real estate agency that's doing this, I think is absurd. So I would urge you to make sure that you read that proposal. My third item is the question on 9B. I looked at the draft RFP. I'm not sure when you guys voted to just carve out the 600 block from the 800 block thing, but this is only for the 600 block. It also identifies a study that was done in 2012, the West Atlantic Needs Assessment. That's 25 years old, by the way. Okay, the West Atlantic Master Plan, which we've just been informed we still are going to have 3 more public meetings on before that's ever brought to a vote. That's the set transformation plan. So, and it's also a 52-page RFP. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention because I think it's very premature to even have put out a draft RFP on this item since we don't have any of those other things, and you've never discussed updating the 2012 West Atlantic Needs Assessment. So, which is the one that said we need a 20,000-foot grocery store. So I would just urge you to look closely at all those items. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Joyce Mooney, and I live at 516 Northeast 8th Avenue. I came, well, first, I came to offer support for the idea of low-income or moderate workforce housing building on North Federal Highway. Reasonably sized. We don't need a 5-story, 7-story monster building there. But after trying to listen to your discussion, I'm not sure whether we own that property, or we're going to own the property, or we're leasing the property, or what.
No, we're not even considering it now.
You are considering.
We're not considering it.
You're not considering.
We're not considering
it now.
any affordable housing projects now.
Well, you ought to be.
I agree.
You ought to be considering workforce housing, because we need people coming to work in Delray Beach. So I guess that's all I have to say. I do think if you have a chance to buy a piece of property that's open and feasible for low-income or workforce housing on North Federal or anywhere else, that you ought to buy it and just hold it, rather than have 3 more cafes or gas stations or other kinds of development on it. It'd be smart to hold some property.
Thank you, Ms. Mooney. I agree. We have another one.
My name is Chuck Ridley. I live at 210 Northwest 2nd Avenue. So while I was sitting back there, I have no idea how I missed we are not considering affordable housing. That's ridiculous. So I know that I'm missing something. You all are so sophisticated. This is just going way over my head. So if you get a chance, please, Commission, explain to me, given the need of affordable housing, how can that be off the table? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michael Samuels. I live at 1025 Phillips Road in Delray. I do agree that there should be more affordable housing in Delray, but that's not what was being proposed. It was extremely low income housing that was being proposed, which means, and I did see some of the video that Deputy Chair was speaking about, of an income level of $22,000 a year should be able to, you did say that, right?
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
So $22,000 a year should be able to purchase one of these properties. We're just moving towards North Federal and cleaning up all the no-tell motels, which is the same demographic that's going to rent there nightly, that's going to be living in extremely low income housing. Workforce housing, completely different. Teachers, nurses, firefighters, police, nurses, anyone that it's in that 60, what workforce housing is 60 to 120 or 40% of the average median income. That's what that means. So anywhere between probably $60,000 to $120,000 a year. To put something, and right across the street, so everybody, they keep on saying the North Federal, what that is, if no one went to the map, it's the Badcock Building and the Bee's Knees Diner. That's the property that they're in question, that they were going to purchase. And directly adjacent to that, who's the same owner, owns that plot of land, who is, I believe it was already approved for 46 ultra luxury townhomes. Okay. I was told it was. So, and they're different LLCs. One's 2400 Federal LLC, one's ultra luxury townhomes LLC. So, that's going to bring in tax revenue to pay off the debt that we were just talking about. Putting ultra low income housing is going to, especially as everybody's saying, the gateway of coming into Delray is a disaster. Our friends to the north, as you said, Boynton, they're redeveloping their downtown. They're making things that are not extra luxury, but on the higher end, and they're trying to lift everything out. We don't want to be Lake Worthless. Section 8 housing that's going in. I mean, that's what it's known as. We don't want that. We're getting you guys did a great job, if you guys had a hand in it, getting rid of all the halfway houses. Delray was the rehab capital of the world. We cleaned that up. Thank you. We just don't want to move backwards. And I think that this is a way to move backwards. If we have properties already on West Atlantic, I mean, if we already own it, that could be something to look at. Workforce housing. Ultra low housing, income housing is just a killer for any neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, may I just say, teachers make about $40,000 a year in this city.
Yes.
They need housing. Some of our employees, when everything we're approving in the city is 80 to 120%, which means to get into those units, you have to be making approximately $90,000 a year. So when you're looking at it, yeah, it sounds bad, but there's a need. Where do the employees that work in the city go? Now I'll say to you, I brought that up as an exercise. And what I said to my colleagues is, if we're serious about the needs of the city, that's what we should be doing, because those are the needs that are not being met in any development in anywhere in the city. But
So do you think we should bring ultra low where $22,000
I think we
will-
need housing in
We're
our
not-
city.
That's
We
not the
do.
end. It's yes or no. Do you think that we
Commissioner
should
Cassell.
have ultra low
We're not gonna have a
$22,000 a year
discussion.
income?
She's
Yeah,
asking
thank
me
you.
not to answer
Yeah.
that question, but I'd like
The
you to
answer is
you
yes,
can
that's
email
what she
me.
wants.
No, please email me. I'll answer your questions. I have no problem.
Okay.
Thank
I'd
you.
love to, actually.
Thank you for your comments.
Can we add some quick clarity to this? Because there seems to be a lot of confusion. Just real quick, I'll make it extremely quick. We were talking about analyzing two properties, the one on North Federal and one downtown on the railroad tracks next to Artist Alley. In any conversation about what mixture of housing, whether it be low income or whether it be workforce, that was just anecdotal. That wasn't going to be part of the decision on whether to move forward. We were just talking about doing a general analysis of the two properties to see if it made sense to even purchase one and then figure out what mixture went. And I said earlier tonight, I don't think low income makes sense on Federal, but a mixture that includes low income could have made sense potentially on the other site that's downtown, because those folks will have walkability and bikeability to hopefully their jobs downtown. But regardless, it's a moot point because my colleagues aren't even willing to have an initial analysis to even talk about it.
Yeah.
That's what we just decided at the beginning of this meeting for the folks who didn't understand what the conversation was about. It was already on the agenda to move forward to analyze the two properties that we talked about at the last meeting, those two properties, just to analyze them, not to make any decision for purchase. And now we did this apparently Commissioner Cassell introduced a North Federal property just to kill the whole idea, and you actually had no interest in even investigating
just-
Are we gonna all have open
excuse
mic?
me.
No, we're not, and we're not
I'm
going to
done.
rehash it. We're not going to rehash it. Thank you for the
I
explanation,
got a
because
point-
everyone
trying
keeps
to clear
saying
up
bye.
Point
We
of order
never
to the
said
chair.
If I may,
bye.
though, because that
if every one of
accusation
the
was to me.
if every one of the comments are actually going to end up as an editorial or as a speech, I really
Right.
think we should limit ourselves to the comments at hand and respectfully.
Yes, we'll do that.
Your
Ms. Burns.
analysis of why it was not going forward is different than
And
others'
that's unfair,
analysis.
because I suggested spending $9 million on the former Plamosa property. I'm not opposed to the housing, and at the end of the meeting, I said whatever level, we need it. But the problem is, I don't think taxpayers should spend $21 million
I'm
on
also
2
getting whiplash
acres.
from your changes in
No,
positions.
I don't
But-
have a change of position.
But
I
we've
was
already
extremely
decided
clear.
that, so let's move on.
Thank you, I agree.
Pardon me, let's go ahead with the public comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ann Stacy Wright, 225 Southwest 7th Avenue. I sat back there and I listened to the gentleman talk about low income housing and how it will not enhance our city. Well, let me tell you, I am one of the person that you would consider as a low income. And I'm very proud of where I live. I take care of where I live. So everybody, I don't think that is a reason that should be considered. And I think that is just really disrespectful to people that are struggling and trying to make it in this community. So before we speak on certain things and want to talk about certain levels of people, those people have feelings too. They work in this community. Right. They do things in this community. I attend CRA meetings. I attend city commission meetings. I do things in my community. So, we are human as well. and we would be proud to live in a new place, new home, and we would take care of our home just like some of the other. There are bad people in every category, including the billionaires. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Public comment? Public comment closed.
Oh, wait. Sorry, excuse me.
Sorry.
Chair, we have one voicemail public comment.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know
We
did
do.
that.
We do.
Don't you
We
need to
did-
leave with the chair to do
We
that?
didn't stop.
We have one, thank you. Play it. Put it on.
This is William Wheatley, 829 Eastview Avenue, Delray Beach. We are objecting to any low-income housing project on the federal highway, the one proposed there, because of the negative impact on our property values that that would have. Thank you.
Okay. That one was objecting to the low-income housing on Federal Highway. Okay. Public comment closed. Again. Thank you. Okay. On to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve. Do we have, it's amended, right? We pulled those
amended.
items.
As
Yes.
I second the motion, the consent agenda as amended.
Deputy
the roll,
Vice Chair
please.
Casal,
Yes.
Commissioner Carney,
Yes?
Commissioner Long,
Yes.
Chair Burns,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Margaret.
Yes.
Okay. We are now for new business.
Seven's our consent. Yeah.
Uh,
7AA. 8AA.
Back to 7AA.
No, I think it's 8AA, 9AA. Sorry, no, you're on 8A. Pardon me.
We had,
8A.
yes, 8A, yes. We had the 9, we moved something to
Yeah,
new
it's
business.
9AA.
Okay, is that,
Okay.
are you on for
Yes,
that? Okay.
that is me.
You got the floor.
Alright. So, at our last meeting, we discussed continuing with the Redevelopment Advisory Committee for an additional year. So we checked the guidelines, and basically we have to put out a notice of intent to seek applications for 60 days. So this item is just basically asking for the board to authorize that notice to go out. It would go out on June 5th for the 60 days, and we have a tentative schedule here with the first meeting hopefully starting back up in November. So we'll have 4 meetings, and it seems like maybe we'll do it through the fiscal year, so we'll have 4 meetings that go into 2026. And we also have to discuss the topics of what you'll assign to this committee. This current year, we discussed development of West Atlantic corridor and also review the conceptual site plan ideas for the 600 through 800 blocks of West Atlantic Avenue. So we don't have to think about or decide that today. It's just something to keep in mind as we go forward, as we have to figure out exactly what the CRA board would like this group of individuals to do.
We don't have to decide today, we're just thinking.
No,
Thank you.
all we're doing
Okay.
today is just authorizing the 60-day notice, and then we can wait on the direction for the assignments, because we have some months to do that.
Do you want a motion? Sure.
Yeah, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve authorization of CRA staff, redevelopment advisory committee applications for 2025-26 and
Second.
new assignments.
Got it.
Commissioner Carney,
Yes.
Commissioner Long,
Yes.
Chair Burns,
Yes.
Vice Chair Margaret,
Yes.
and Deputy Vice Chair Casal.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so the next item, we are, Renee, are you?
Yes.
This is you.
Me
Okay.
again.
Just
Whole
keep it
agenda
going.
today.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Keep it going. All right. So at the end of the last meeting, there was a comment about revisiting the 102 Northwest Fifth Avenue. That's the commercial space that we own. It was formerly a deli market, so it had a counter with some food service and also a quick grab type store. So we previously discussed having a shared commercial kitchen here, and then at the end of the last meeting, there was a request to revisit that idea. So I'm bringing it to the board for discussion if we want to rethink what we are doing in this space, because our direction based on previous conversations was to put out a request for a commercial kitchen operator and a build out.
Okay, and I'll just start because I was the one that requested a change here. So I would like to entertain and get consensus from my colleagues to have a commercial kitchen here as opposed to shared kitchen in this space.
Could I ask what is that means? It would be, was that going to be utilized by one organization then constantly, or we're not going to any longer let people come in on a basically rental basis? I think what we were thinking was it would be maybe short term, right? If someone was catering something for a weekend event, they'd come in on a Saturday, Sunday.
It would vary. Do you want to explain
Right.
what this?
So the commercial shared kitchen would be just basically, we would try to outfit it with different kitchen equipment that people could use if they're for like a catering business.
Yeah.
So I think
And it would be
they're-
different.
Right, it would be different.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
they're
what I
people-
thought we were doing.
Right.
Okay, I'm amenable to that.
Well, that's what we want to change it to commercial. That would be, what is the description of the shared as opposed to the
So
commercial?
it would be either a restaurant space, just one person would come and make it like a restaurant. So you'd have tables, chairs, the kitchen for the cooking area, or the
That's
shared
what I- that was
shared
what I
space.
was- That was what I was supporting, just to have a one space for like a restaurant set up. Yes.
Okay, question. I thought we were looking, forgive me, because I thought I'm going back a couple meetings, that we were looking for a shared space where people could come in, utilize the kitchen, and leave.
That was what was suggested. However, as I said, I asked that we reconsider that.
So is
you
that
can either-
two bays? Does that mean there's two separate units where you could do it in one and not the other?
No, it's one, but it's
Two doors.
it's combined to two. It has two doors. It's two bays for the address purpose, but they were combined to one space, and they're pretty small, so it wouldn't be beneficial to split it into two.
Okay,
So
but is that, we had properties that we were renting out for restaurants that were, it took a bit for us to get people in, a lot of work going on. We had the issue with Nicole's that it fell through.
yes,
This idea that you had, Ms. Burns, about having it be a shared space where local people trying to start catering businesses could come in, utilize it, and leave was really inviting from my perspective. And we asked that night, somebody, would there be enough people looking to utilize that to make it make sense? And I thought the answer was yes, because I feel if we can give opportunity to a lot of people in the community in this space as a shared space, I would like to do that, because I think we can find other locations for one restaurant.
Up to the board.
well, I think. Oh, sorry. Well, the issue we had in the cottage was the conversion, because it was just an office space. So we were trying to like retrofit it. This actually has equipment there that could be used for a restaurant. We don't have any other spaces that could be used for a restaurant space.
Are you recommending them we just go with the restaurant because it's easier for us to get it done and we can do it?
It probably is, because it's
Okay.
already kind of outfitted that way. Originally, when we discussed this, we were asking to do a survey of the community to see if we wanted the shared space
Right.
or the kitchen, and I think then we kind of jumped on the shared space and we went down that path. But the restaurant is a feasible option as well.
And I
we could go back
suppose-
to the survey too if we wanted to do that first.
No, because Ms. Burns, you know what? In retrospect, we could go to Old School Square if people needed to share a kitchen, and they could rent that out. Yeah, good. Okay, do you want me to make a motion?
I would like to know if any of the other commissioners would like to have a say on it. Commissioner Long?
I'm on board with that concept. Initially, I thought the shared kitchen maybe made more sense because there's been some struggles with the restaurants that we've tried to fill in the past, but it seems like maybe the community wants that more and it's easier to set up, so I'm amenable to it if that's what the board wants.
I think if you get a viable restaurant working there, that works for the neighborhood, so I'm supporting that.
Okay.
I'm on board.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Motion to approve notice of intent to lease 2-unit tenant bays at 102 Northwest 5th Avenue, Suite 108 and 110.
I second as amended by the provisions that we just discussed.
Thank you.
Commissioner Long,
Yes.
Chair Burns,
Yes.
Vice Chair Markert,
Yes.
Deputy Vice Chair Casal,
Yes.
and Commissioner Carney.
Yes.
Okay, on to new business. The budget.
I think we have to do 9A.
Oh, 9AA.
Oh, yeah, that was the
7D.
That was formerly 7B, right?
formerly 7B, yes.
D, as in dog.
Wait a minute.
Yes, that was 7D. So
Yes.
this is approving agreement for professional commercial property real estate marketing services with Jones Lang Sal Americas Inc. On a continuing contract basis. So just a little background for this particular item. A few months ago, we had issued a request for qualifications for a commercial real estate agent to help us outreach for our properties. When we issued the bid, we got back our proposals that included their whole suite of services. We had two proposers that responded. It was this one and then also CBRE. So they included everything that they do, and we tried to kind of work through what we would actually need. So I know there were commentary today about different services there for bidding and things like that. We've had that in the past. We've used outside consultants to do bidding services, to draft bids. That's one of the selling points. I think for both of them, they've done this in the past. For this particular contract, we can pick what we would like to do. So I think our intent really is to work with them to help just say, hey, this is what we have. Here are our properties, to different commercial tenants, especially the supermarket, grocers, pharmacies, banks, some of the needs that are core to the RFPs that we'll be issuing in the future. So it's not a all-in-one. It's something that we can pick what we would like as we go. And this particular firm offered their services on an hourly basis. So we can pick what we want hourly, and that's it. The other firm is a little bit different, so we are only bringing one contract forward because theirs was a lump sum for a monthly retainer, which is a lot. I think we have to figure out where we're going first, which is why we thought that the hourly option would be a better choice. So we drafted the contract with them, and we just got notice that they had a couple changes that they wanted to make. They're not major at this point, so what we wanted to pull this off so that we could ask the board to approve it in substantial form and allow our attorneys a chance to look at it, and if it's all fine, we'll sign it after. But we didn't want to wait because it wasn't that major of a thing to change and wait till July.
I would just ask, a resident brought forth concerns, and I think you addressed them with the idea of the a la carte menu. And you don't have concerns about conflicts or any of that for us?
No.
And I would assume that, or you wouldn't have it on the agenda.
Exactly. And we could choose that if we want to. Right now, our only purpose really is to help outreach and just get the information out there about our spaces available, to act as our agent essentially, not to actually secure tenants and start going there because we have to do a bid process. We just want someone to help us with those connection points. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Long, you have any questions, any comment?
No, fine with it.
Fine.
Fine.
Motion to approve an agreement for professional commercial property real estate marketing services with Jones Lang LaSalle Americas Inc. on a continuing contract basis.
In substantial form.
Thank you.
Second.
Chair Burns,
Yes.
Vice Chair Markert,
Yes.
Deputy Vice Chair Casal,
Yes.
Commissioner Carney,
Yes.
and Commissioner Long.
Yes.
Okay, now on to new business and the budget overview.
Yes. Okay. So it's that time of year where we start looking at our budget. We have things that we budget for CRA, and then we have things that we receive from the city. We haven't received the city's budget request yet, so we're just going to provide a very broad overview of our budget process, what we typically receive from the city, and then we'll update you all as we receive more information from the city. So first, we'll talk about the overall needs for our community redevelopment area from our redevelopment plan, which are removal of slum and blight, land use, economic development, affordable housing, downtown housing, infrastructure, recreation and cultural facilities. So I'm going to pause here and just kind of jump back to the discussion we had about affordable housing. It is one of our priorities. It's something that we're always looking to do. I think today what was on the agenda was to look at those two particular properties to purchase. It was a very specific thing that we were talking about to me. We were analyzing to see what we could potentially put on the site if we were to purchase it. It doesn't stop any other development from happening if they're doing it on their own or any other future discussions. I just want to make that clear so it doesn't look like we're not supporting affordable housing, because I don't think that was, to me, the intent.
And we have Live Local projects coming to the city.
Right, there's about 200 units of Live Local coming on Congress Avenue. That's already in with development services. So I think, just to keep that framework there, that it's still a priority for us. We have calls and discussions that happen all the time. West Atlantic Avenue, we have our vacant properties. That was always a priority, is to have affordable housing. So the other properties, it was to me a specific situation that we said we're not going to go forward on this agenda with. But if there's things that come up in the future, nothing can stop, we'll stop that from happening or any future discussions. But I just want to make it clear that I think affordable housing is still a priority for the CRA. It was in the past and it will be continuing in the future. So
Thank you.
Segue. Okay. And with that, we have 19 years left. Potentially, we have an additional year. We're going through a plan amendment process right now. Our current plan says that we do sunset, though, on September 30th of 2044. But we could possibly, like I said, get that extension for one more year as we go through the process. This on the consent agenda today, we approved continuing with finalizing our plan amendment. So that hopefully will be done by the end of the year, and then we can seek out that additional 1-year extension. But that's all. We have 20 years left and quite a bit of projects and funding needed for projects, especially in Northwest Southwest infrastructure, that we have to get done. So here's just a list of the priorities that we identified in this current fiscal year. A lot of them are in process. I won't read through all of them, but basically it goes on the same vein of housing. We're looking, if you recall, about the townhouses with accessory dwelling units attached. We're still moving forward with that. We're still moving forward with the modular commercial activation on the Northwest 800 block, which is really exciting. And also, of course, highlighting the West Atlantic Development Strategy, which is an ongoing topic for us to discuss. And here's some other things that we're in process of working with the city. The wayfinding signs, which look great, that's been going on for some time. It's very near completion. Osceola Park infrastructure, that was the first of our 3 infrastructure areas that we committed to, was Osceola Park, then the Northwest neighborhood, then the Southwest neighborhood. So Osceola Park is complete, and the Northwest neighborhood is underway, and after that will be the Southwest neighborhood. And then I'll also highlight Pompey Park, which is another big one. So, and that's a $45 million renovation project that we do have cash, ready and waiting for the contractor to come on and start that project, which is very exciting. And then the last 2, a couple studies that we're working on. The accessory dwelling unit study, they're working on that with Development Services, and the West Atlantic Plan Update, which we had our first public meeting yesterday, which was great. I think we had about 100 people that attended, so well attended, a lot of great conversations, spirited conversations as usual, but it is helpful in going through that process with this update. So we will have a few other public meetings going through the summer and hopefully be able on task to finish that plan update by the end of the year. And here's just some general ongoing activities. We still have the Green Market, which now we offer SNAP there. The Arts Warehouse facility, also the co-working space that we're operating at this point at 98 Northwest 5th Avenue. Ongoing maintenance and repair, our funding assistance programs, groundbreakings, ribbon cuttings that happen throughout the year, demolitions, acquisitions, and affordable workforce housing development for single and multifamily. So this is just some of the things broadly that we have going on. I wanted to highlight this list. We included all the single-family homes that we've acquired and either have sold or in the process of working on. These are all the lots that are in our portfolio at this point that are single-family zoned. Some of them have contracts, some of them are pending contracts, some are going through some sort of land use rezoning, or not rezoning, or land use issues there, and you'll see them listed. But it's a substantial list, but these are just single family homes. The cost of buying these lots is just keeps going up. We try to find the best deals that we can to try to continue purchasing for single family lots. And here's a typical city funding request that we receive. Obviously the capital improvement projects, Clean and Safe program, and also there's contractual services that we fund with the city on an annual basis. And this just highlights again the long-term in projects that we've committed to. Pompey Park, the Northwest neighborhood, which as you mentioned, Mayor Carney, is about $80 million of infrastructure. We're going to talk a little bit about the bonding for that as we go forward, but that's just something to keep in mind. And then the Southwest neighborhood, which we haven't even started yet. So big picture, long-term, CRA managed things that we've been working on are developments of West Atlantic and assessing opportunities in other sub-areas, but our focus really has been West Atlantic for some time. So because of what we went through this year with the legislature, what we discussed was potentially including any block that we have property on West Atlantic, including that in the budget as a project essentially, and earmarking funds for that particular property, because something will eventually hopefully happen there in the future. We just want to make sure that it's noted as a project. So we listed them all here. All of the maps are included in this presentation, but we wanted to include that in our budget this year. And it could be a small amount, maybe 10 to 20,000 or 50,000, but just something showing that it is a project visibly in our budget that is on our priority list. So the first one is the Northwest block. This one we already have slated for the townhouse development with the accessory dwelling units in the purple areas. Next is the Northwest 800 block. So this is what we have been working on, the modular commercial construction project. So this, we already issued a bid. We're going to be reviewing them very soon. This should be showing up on your agenda for approval. The Northwest 900 block, we haven't really discussed this, but you can see what we own there. It's a bit of an odd pattern, but this is what we have. The Northwest 1000 block, we have a few pieces of property there. And then the 6, 7, and 800 block, which we've had in discussion for some time. We also own property on the Southwest 900 block behind the Fairfield Inn. And then we have a few scattered parcels on the Southwest 1,000, 1,100, and 1,200 blocks kind of behind the gateway. And some of these, just to note, they're zoned, some are zoned commercial, some are single family. I think maybe 1 or 2 are multi-family, I believe, in this area. But these are just lots that we've had in our portfolio. And here's a few things that I wanted to bring up for discussion today. Finalizing the A-Guide, the funding transition. So this is something we have been discussing year after year, but I think especially after this year, it's important that we not continue funding this program because of the statute change, and we have to keep up with what's going on. We've pushed it down a few years, but I think we wanted to put it on the record at least to have that discussion about transitioning that officially so that we wouldn't be paying any portion going forward. This year, and the last 2 years, the city provided us some funding, but we were still the primary ones funding the project and managing it. The other one is the Delray Beach Open. So we've had some brief discussions about this as well, but this one is another one I think that we should really look at stopping funding or actually going forward with that. Because again, we've talked about it, we just haven't actually done it yet. And then the next one is transfer of a park and a parking lot. I'll bring that up after I have some images on that. And then we can jump down to the bond for the Northwest Neighborhood Infrastructure Project. So I've spoken with the city staff and the city's bond consultant about this. So basically we would be borrowing what we could use in 3 years. So the estimate was about 30 to 40 million is what would be needed in 3 years. And we continue to save money, obviously, so that we can have cash as we go along. Right now we have $8 million just about in our budget, but again, we need 80. So I was told it would take about 120 days or so to go through the process. We have to get city approval and county approval for us to borrow money because it's on future TIF revenue. So that will take a little bit of time as well, but just something to keep in mind. I would hope that we could start this process later in the year. We're trying to time it with some of the bonds that the city's doing since it's the same individual that would be doing it. So we've been, pretty active conversation over the last couple months with them about that. Oh, and then if there's any other suggestions from the board, we can catch that at the end, but this is just open items for discussion. And so this is the park. So we have owned this park, Reverend J.W.H. Thomas Park, for quite some time. We put in a new playground, put in turf, had a shade structure, redid the landscaping. So I had been in conversation with the city, Parks and Rec, about the city actually taking over this property from us for maintenance wise and security wise, that they can put this in their portfolio. So it's just something I wanted to bring up to the board. And likewise with the parking lot at 215 Southeast 2nd Avenue, we were purchasing lots, doing parking lots and transferring them to the city. This one was just never transferred, but we do have some situations of cars being left there for some time, and the police has to call, our PD has to call us or code, and then we have to call someone to get the cars towed. So it's an extra step that we're doing with this situation. So we just thought the city would be in a better position for maintenance and oversight in this parking lot. And then next steps, basically the budget preparation, the city will review the city's budget request when we receive it, prepare our draft budget, provide it to the board, and then prepare our fiscal year budget work plan. That's it.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm just curious, when you listed some items here that we're going to have some discussion points on, for example, the tennis, the monies that we're putting for the tennis and when are you anticipating this discussion?
We can do it now if you want to. That's fine.
Sure. Would you like to start?
It'll help with the budget so we know what to prepare.
I'll start. Do you want me to?
Well, go
We
ahead.
moved
Go ahead.
the A-Guide already. Last year we discussed that we were going to have to move it over. The city is anticipating this in their current
And
budget.
these are statutory
or
things
should be.
we're
Yeah.
trying to conform with.
So we're done with that, and I honestly think we should do the tennis as well. If we're needing all this money, then I think we should do that. You and I talked about the parking lot. The grocer slide that you had, We're talking about subordinating a ground lease income generating, where then the property and the buildings on it would come back to the city at some point in the future, which could be over 100 years, right? But that's the
For-
kind of ground lease you're talking about for the grocer?
We could do that. We have an item to talk about that
Okay.
next, the 600 block in
Okay,
particular.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll wait on that because that would be how I would
So-
I would think we would structure it. But yes, so A-Guide moved to the city, Tennis moved to the city. You and I talked about the parking lot. It makes sense to transfer the parking lot, and the bonding is what it is. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor.
No, that was, I looked at these things when they changed the statute a couple
Right.
years back, and we had a little, I'm not gonna say that, I'm just saying we were in a gray area this year.
Yes.
We're not in a gray area next year.
Right.
And I don't wanna give any ammunition to anybody to criticize CRAs by us not staying in full compliance with what the statute says we should be spending our money on.
Correct.
Yeah,
And it's not that we're not gonna need the money for other things, because we clearly are. So that was my point.
Yeah. And we've been talking about this for a while, so I was under the impression that we had already decided to transition it over. Commissioner Long, you have?
Yeah, I mean, it's riskier than ever in terms of being in compliance, but I'm on board with all of these transitions, so.
Okay. And Margaret?
I went through this with Renee at length yesterday. These are the right four things, so I'm completely in favor.
Okay. You need anything further from us on these?
Well, any other suggestions from the board? So this is the time to start talking about it. If there's things you want us to look at, I think we should start that, because we haven't actually, penned the budget and started doing that. We haven't gotten the city's budget request, so now's the time to start throwing ideas out there, if any.
Okay. Okay. We'll get back to you.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
That's
All
fine.
right. All right, thank you. So we are moving on to 9B.
Okay. Okay.
Before you go to 9B,
Yes.
that parking lot, where exactly is that on Second? Where this is southeast Second?
Southeast Second, so the railroad track, it's right by the property that we were purchasing, that warehouse from the McNeil.
Oh, okay.
Right on the
Yes.
side.
Oh, okay.
Right by the
Yes.
hut.
Okay.
It's by, yes, exactly.
Okay, got it. So this is one that you want to transition to the city?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So now we're at the development of 6, 7, 800 blocks of West Atlantic Avenue. So, last meeting we had the initial discussion about the bids and what we're going to do with these properties, which was great timing with having our lawsuit resolved. So, and at that meeting, we all, I think, were on the same page about trying to attract a grocery store and kind of carving out the 600 block for that, because it's the biggest piece. So this discussion is really, looking at the properties again and seeing what we have. We prepared a draft RFP just to start a discussion. We'd issued this RFP back in, I think, 2015 or 16. It was very similar, focusing specifically on a supermarket and public parking. So we kind of took that, reworked it a little bit into the newer formatting that we have, but it's just something to start discussing. And we committed to the last meeting that we're going to talk about this every month. So that's why we're putting it on the agenda, so that we can keep that top of mind, that we know that this is our priority and we really want to get this something issued and done on these parcels. So that was really the purpose of this item. Nothing to vote on at this time. Just some more discussions on the putting this out for the supermarket on the 600 block. And by doing that, I just want to highlight, if you see the 700 and the 800 blocks, we're missing these couple pieces of property. So, not the best situation there. So removing this just leaves these two parcels for development. Just something to think about. But again, it's prioritizing. If we really want to get the supermarket, we're putting forward the best, most attractive land that we have to see what we can attract.
Okay. I'll start with you, Commissioner Murphy. Is there any discussion that you want to add at this time?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Ma'am?
I mean, I think I made my point clear earlier. I mean, I am,
Right.
seriously,
Let's
when I
just-
started, and if I'm accused of whiplash, it probably was a little whiplash, because when I reviewed all this stuff, when I reviewed the agenda and went back and looked at when some of these properties were actually acquired, I remember voting on it.
Right.
2004. So,
Yeah.
Sooner we get it out, the better.
All right. Commissioner Long, did you have any comments that you wanted to make at this time?
I don't think so. I mean, if we're the goal right now is to move ahead with the grocery store and see what we get back. I look forward to hearing what comes back, and then hopefully we can start moving forward with the 700-800 blocks soon as well.
Okay. Commissioner Kazal?
Yeah, I mean, I know you're always out there pursuing property, and especially the 22, the 17, the 40. I'm sure you're working on it, but I would say even if we can be creative, land swapping or something like
definitely.
that, because we do have some parcels that are probably something that, because once this is developed, some of those people may no longer find it the same, and they may be willing to move. I'm just saying, be as creative as you can to plug in those gaps.
Definitely.
Thank you.
No comment.
I'll just add too, so, we approved that the commercial real estate agent to help us, so I just wanted to kind of tie that into this. So during this time, once we get that contract, our first thing to them is we're going to ask, like, hey, do you have any contacts with any supermarkets to start those conversations, so that, and we'll be working on that as well, but we'll use them as an agent to start marketing and getting the word out that this is really what we're looking for. But I think that's clear that that's a priority, so we're going to start pushing that out as much as possible. So we have the draft on the agenda. We'll bring it back in July again and maybe do a few tweaks to target putting something out on the street maybe in the fall, August, September, after we've had a chance to have some conversations with people and kind of see what's out there, and then we'll put the bid out after that.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. All right, so we are other business. Comments by Renee.
Oh, again. Well, I wanted a couple things for congratulations. We saw that the HNM architect won a Historic Preservation Award. So I just want to highlight and congratulate them, but also highlight that they were a recipient of our Paint Up and Signage grant. So we facilitated this award and this process. So just wanted to say congratulations, highlight them. And then also the Housing Authority, they recently won the 2025 Housing Leadership Coalition Housing Heroes Award, Nonprofit Developer of the Year, and wanted to also show the CRA's contribution. We provided $1 million of local government support towards their tax credit deal. So, and it was a grant, so that was a $1 million contribution from the CRA. So wanted to congratulate them and also just bring that to the forefront that our funds were also integrally involved in this project to get this project done. And Rock the Block is happening this Saturday, if anyone's around. See a familiar face in there. The tallest one there. Yes. So it's this Saturday.
Give you a shirt?
Oh, I have a sun shirt. Just protect my arms. So yes, it is this Saturday. It starts at 8 a.m. to about noon time. So come on out. The program's in the morning. I think it's going to start around 8:15, and then we'll get out there and start painting. It's right by Pompey Park, so the setup will be at Pompey, and then we'll kind of branch out from there. And our next social is on June 5th at the Arts Warehouse. So this social, we're going to specifically focus on the updating of the West Atlantic Master Plan Set Transformation Plan and discuss some kind of feedback from our public meeting that we had yesterday and just getting the word about future meetings and get people really engaged and involved in this process. And also celebrating our 40th year. So this is 40 years of Delray Beach CRA. So we got 20 more. We got a lot of work to do. So yeah, so much time goes so quickly. But it is our 40th year. I think it's June 18th is our 40-year anniversary. So we'll be celebrating that as well. And also I wanted to introduce, I thought she was still here. So the Edmund Baines building, that's our shared workspace. We're going to start opening 5 days a week. We hired a staff person that will be there. So we'll be there from 9 to 5. Monday through Friday. So if any out there coworkers or want to come in and share this workspace with us, we'll be there Monday through Friday. And happy anniversary to the Delray Beach CRA. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, comments by the attorney.
No comments today. Thanks for having me again. Pleasure seeing all of you.
Great to be here. And now the commissioners. Who wants to start? Anybody?
I have no further comments.
Okay, cool. Okay.
I just wanted to say that we're not, this CRA is and And by the way, with the definitions of how long, I have been associated with the CRA more than half of its life, which is a really scary prospect. I'm going to go home and get depressed. But I certainly am not putting my head in the sand about the importance of the housing component of our mission. But I just wanted to note that the first three things you said were removal of slum and blight, land use, and economic development. And it's just my view, after reviewing everything, that it's really time to get West Atlantic accomplished before we take on additional financial obligations, and especially since we know we're going to have the infrastructure, which is a great expense, and it's something what we're supposed to do. It's actually part of removing slum and blight. So I'm just saying there's a lot of money out there. I'm not putting my head in the sand about the other stuff. It's just that, I just want to get West Atlantic done.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Long?
I'll just repeat what I said earlier, which is that I'm very disappointed. I respect my colleagues' trepidation in purchasing a property, but to not even move forward with analyzing our options is a mistake in my mind. And to me, West Atlantic has nothing to do with that. We already own those properties. So I just don't understand why we wouldn't move forward, but it is what it is. I'm not going to relitigate it. I've made my point clear on that front. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Casale.
Thanks. And I would say, I think we have to just go through our budget first and see where we're at. Let Renee start assessing what we are going to do with these bonds and see where we're going. I always feel like if there's a project that we think is amazing, we will figure out a way to get it done. And I've seen that with our CRA, because we have amazing staff, an amazing leader, and we have gotten more done than many CRAs in the entire state. And I will say again that I believe, if you look, I think in the last meeting, I brought it up, it's over 600 units are coming in the city at the 80 to 120% AMI, and the entry level income to get into those is $90,000. And the city, if we're going to be doing things, we need to start looking at different levels. Now, maybe you think it's extreme to say extra low, and it probably was, right? But even at the third level up, you're talking about $60,000 an individual has to make a year to qualify. Now, we know we're fighting with our police, because they say we're not making enough. And we just are increasing them to where the third year they'll be at 80,000. They don't qualify for the 600 and something, 700 units we're bringing into the city after they've been here 3 years. So every time these developments come up, giant developments, and we're giving this 20% bonus for this, we're not giving ourselves anything. We're not getting what we need. And all I'm saying, Rob, is if we are really serious about it and we're going to expend taxpayer money, then at least we need to assess what are the true needs of the city. Because I would respectfully argue, and I have all along, 80 to 120 is not the need of our city. It's not. If you want to have your teachers in, it's got to be lower. If you want your entry-level firemen living in your city, it's got to be lower. If you want your police living in your city, it's got to be lower.
Why would we not make that assessment?
We could make that assessment.
We're not moving forward with an assessment, though. That's all I was
Listen,
advocating
I think this has gotten so convoluted. There's so much misinformation out there. It's a disaster.
Which is why we need an analysis, so we're not relying on conjecture.
Bank it. Look, it's a couple of months. We'll be done with our budget in 8 to 12 weeks, and then we'll have a better idea of where we are financially. I still hold firm that we should be looking to buy the 12 acres at Plamosa for $9,000.
They're not selling that.
I feel like we could convince them. I disagree with you.
Instead of
It's
the property owners that want to sell, we're going to go with one who's told us repeatedly they're not going to sell.
No,
that makes
listen,
sense.
I share your concerns, and I don't disagree with you. But I think
you
right
voted
now
no
is the
about
time.
moving forward. You can't have it both ways.
No,
have some accountability for the vote you took.
We tabled it till the end of the budget. So, and I'm happy with that.
Thank you.
A couple of months.
Thank
and
you.
I'm happy with that.
Well, one thing I can agree with is that we do need housing that is below the 80, because that doesn't work. We have to assess our residents, and my daughter's a teacher, and she does not make $90,000 a year. And she's been teaching 16 years. Anyway, thank you all for your comments. It's rough up here, ladies and gentlemen. It's rough up here. But I wanted to say that Renee and I traveled to Washington, D.C. to attend a forum on affordable housing that was sponsored by the American Bar Association. And it was very enlightening to hear the presentations that were made. And surprisingly, Delray just rings on top almost in every arena that we're on top, guys, with affordable housing. It seems like we get nothing done, but the other states and cities are far below us. They are just looking at zoning. They're just looking at accessory dwelling units. They're just thinking about it when we're already past that. So I was glad to hear that. And one of the things that was a great takeaway for me was that the data that presented that the senior citizens are now the fastest growing segment of the homeless population. And that Florida is identified as the epic center for aging adults. And we have 21.7% of our population is age 65 and over. Climate change are making our seniors homeless because of storms coming in. Their houses aren't weatherproofed. And so a lot of states are looking at their SHIP funds and how they are using those SHIP funds to help weatherize the homes. But that was very alarming to me that our seniors who are now on fixed incomes, who are not getting a rate increase, income increase, but taxes are going up, insurance is going up, and they are becoming homeless. Very alarming. However, we got a lot out of I enjoyed the conference and look forward to going to others and just getting some ideas. I wish that we could get some ideas and not everybody's looking to get the ideas from Delray. Renee was one of the moderators for one of the sessions, but everybody looks to Delray. So we do have a city to be proud of. And with that, I'm finished. Any other comments?
Well, it's our CRA chair they're looking to, so it's you really, not us. We're just
Okay. All right. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.
Meeting.
Yes. Amazing.